This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
Always follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Busy hour on tap. A lot of NFL games to get to. College football trends that are tremendous this time of year. And we will start by going out to the Progressive Guest Line every Friday at this time. VSiN host Mike Somich hops on the program. He's the co-host along with, I'm blanking on his name right now. That is an awful job by me.
Matt Brown.
No, not Matt Brown on the podcast. Patrick Maher.
Patrick Maher.
Patrick Maher. I blanked there. My apologies to Patrick. The podcast is called Sharp Money. It drops twice a week. Samich, good to talk to you. We typically just do NFL with you, but you like a couple of college bets. And let's get to one because the game starts tonight in about 3 hours. There's a team total here that you like between Oklahoma and Alabama. What do you like here?
Yeah, fascinating game with a total set at 40.5. We see some 41s enter the market now, but just interesting to see a college football game total this low. Hard for me to want to go in on the full game total or full game team totals here because we could have a little wilder of a second half, especially if one team is able to create a little bit of margin. The number one unit on the field for me is this Oklahoma defense. We saw what the Georgia defense was able to do against Alabama in the SEC title game. I want to try and focus in on this Oklahoma defense against an Alabama offense I think really struggles running the football, forced to be one-dimensional tonight in what I think is going to be a very run-heavy game on the Oklahoma side to grind the clock. So let's look at the team total for the Crimson Tide, specifically first half here. I don't want to worry about what goes on in the second half. I want to focus on the first half where both of these teams still executing the game plan they entered the game with. You can get Alabama at 9.5, 10, or 10.5, depending on where you shop and what juice you want. 9.5 is sitting at even money. 10 is at minus 125, 10.5 minus 164. I went Alabama under 10 first half team total minus 125. I don't mind the 9.5, but I felt like the extra 25 cents is worth taking that 10 and creating the push equity on what is a commonly hit first half number.
All right, excellent. How about tomorrow morning, Miami catching 3.5?
I am a homer. I am a Miami Hurricanes fan. I want to get that out of the way right away. But I do believe Miami has the advantage on both the offensive and defensive line. I think they've got the better units in the trenches in this game. You've also got Carson Beck at quarterback, someone I trust a little bit more than Reed on the other side. I think this Miami Hurricanes team is going to be able to control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. And if that's the case, I'll take the 3.5 here. Once we've got to the other side of the hook, I thought this was a pretty easy one to get in the account with Miami.
All right, good job. NFL, Bills, Browns, total 41.5. The Bills averaging 158 rushing yards per game. Cleveland's getting gashed on the ground lately, especially what happened with Pollard. And, I mean, Sanders can make a couple plays here if the weather cooperates and they give him time. But Buffalo's had a ton of issues defensively, especially with their run defense. What do you think of the total here?
You're making my case for me here. I love it. Yeah, look, we're not going to have a weather game in Cleveland. It's going to be cold, but that's about it. We're not expecting any big-time winds coming off the lake, which means that the offenses shouldn't have too much trouble executing what they want to do. This Cleveland defense still getting respected in the market like it's a top 5, top 10 defense. They are lucky to be top half of the NFL with what they've been putting on the field the last couple weeks. Yes, you have Myles Garrett. You've got the possible rookie of the year on the defensive side in Schlesinger as well, but at the same time, they're getting beat for big plays on the inside and outside. It's a Buffalo offense that should be able to effectively move the football on the ground and when they need to through the air. But on the other side, Buffalo defense still stinks. It's not good. Cleveland is going to be able to move the football as well. I think 41.5, way too low. I'll take the over here at 41.5 in the Bills and the Browns. And I'll add on to that. I'll take Shedeur Sanders over 178.5 passing yards in this spot as well. Again, I expect it to be a chase style of game script here, which means that you're going to have a Browns team that needs to throw the football. You've got a Bills secondary that doesn't scare anybody, a little banged up in the secondary as well. I think this Browns offense has success through the air. I think they help push this total over, and I think Shedeur Sanders goes over his passing number as well. So over 178.5 passing yards for Shedeur Sanders, over 41.5 in the Bills-Browns game.
Very good. Massive matchup. NFC South here, Tampa Bay and Carolina, the first of two meetings over the final 3 weeks of the season. Who do you like here in game one?
I like the Bucs, and I'm hoping I get a 2.5. I've already bet them -3, -105. If I get a 2.5, I will be betting the Bucs one more time here. You look at these two teams, and let's just be honest about the defenses. They're both not good, both bottom 10 in the NFL. but they are right around even. Now let's look at the offenses. Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, who looked very good on return. Chris Godwin starting to look like himself as well. You got McMillan back in that receiving core. You've got Ibuka out there. You've got Bucky Irving in the backfield. You've got Tristan Wirfs, who's going to play on the offensive line. You flip to the other side, and you're telling me I'm getting Bryce Young, Tet McMillan, but after that, it's Jalen Coker. After that, it's guys like Xavier Legette. Not names that I really believe in. Now, if the Panthers can run the football, you get a little more concerned, but this Tampa Bay run defense, pretty stout on the inside. I think this is advantage Bucs pretty heavily on the offensive side with two mediocre to bad defenses. I will happily lay the 3 with Tampa this week. I think they're going to be able to score at will here against this defense for Carolina. If that's the case, I think Carolina has a hard time being able to chase them down. Don't mind passing props for both quarterbacks if you're looking for a game where you want to go over both quarterbacks. I do think this is a lot of offense through the air for both of these teams.
Very good. We've talked about this many times on our show and with you as well, and they just gave him a nice payday and extension. Lawrence has a great rapport with Myers, and the targets are there, the yards are there. So what do you think of Myers here again against Denver?
It's amazing when you look at the stats and you look at the rating for Trevor Lawrence with and without Myers. With Myers, he is the number 1 rated quarterback in the NFL. Without him, he's like 19th. Yeah. It's amazing the difference he has specifically made for this offense. And this is a great matchup for Jacoby Myers as well, because he's not going to draw Pat Surtain throughout this entire game. Surtain's going to be on the outside. That generally means he's going to get Brian Thomas Jr. Jacoby Myers is going to wander all over the field. You'll see him in the slot. You'll see him on the outside. You're going to see him in trip sets. He is not going to have to deal with that coverage. We already know the relationship is there between Trevor Lawrence and Myers. Myers, an exceptional route runner, got the bag this week. He got paid by the Jags as well. He's going to catches the football every time it's thrown to him. I think this number is still too low. Books haven't reacted properly to what we've seen from Myers over the last few weeks since getting in this Jacksonville lineup and since playing all of the snaps as well. He started out at 44% snap rate on the offensive side. He's over 90% now the last 3 weeks. I think that continues. I think he doesn't draw Surtain. I think this is a great setup for Myers to go over his 54.5 receiving yards.
Very good. Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, VSiN host, Mike Somich, and he is on the Progressive Guest Line. 2 games tomorrow. You like a prop in each game. Game 1, Commanders taking on Philly. Eagles are laying 7 in this game, but you are targeting somebody that Mariota is going to be throwing the ball to tomorrow for Washington. Who do you like?
Let's hope he's throwing the football to him. This is one that's not for the faint of heart, because I'm going to go with Treylon Burks here, the number 3 wide receiver for this Washington Commanders team. It's a situation where you would expect Mitchell's going to be on the outside against McLaren. You've got Samuel in the slot. He's most likely going to draw DeJean. I'll go with the other wide receiver here, and that is Treylon Burks. Not a ton of targets on the season, but when he is targeted, averaging nearly 20 yards per target, his number all the way down there at 12.5 receiving yards. This is like, we'll go over the 12.5. We probably need 1 catch to go over that number. He's one of those guys I'm interested in laddering, though, because you have such a low total. If you start climbing the ladder at all, you are looking at huge plus prices, especially for a guy who is most likely to get targeted deep. Kind of compare him to Isaiah Bond on Cleveland last week, where he only had 2 receptions, but it was for 89 yards. If we get the targets to Burks and we get those down the field, we only need 1, maybe 2 passes, and we're able to eclipse some nice ladder marks. I took him up to 40. You can get 40-plus yards at plus 450. I'm hoping for 3 to 4 targets. That's all I want. Make 1 to 2 catches. That's what we're looking for here. He may not get a single target, but if he gets targeted, it's going to be downfield, and it's going to help him get to these ladders.
Very intriguing. How about the night game then, as the Bears are now about a 2-point favorite at home against Green Bay?
A fascinating football game here. I'm worried that we're not going to see a great pass rush from Green Bay without Parsons out there. We've been struggling to get pressures on the quarterback when he has not been, or when you remove him from that defense. That means that we're going to have time to throw. But the question is, who do we throw it to? Because Odunze going to be out, Burden going to be out. The logical choice there, I think, is between Moore and between Loveland. I like Loveland more than Moore. I think he gets more of the higher percentage targets that get caught. He's sitting at 44.5. Let's go over that receiving number. He should get 7-8 targets in this game. And if we can get 1 or 2 of those to be for 15-plus yards, I think he's able to easily get over this 44.5 reception yard total. So we're going to focus in on Loveland at over 44.5.
Very good. Love the analysis as always. One more bet that you like. I mean, sometimes it doesn't come through the way you're hoping it is, but how are we not going to get a ton of points in this Atlanta-Arizona game?
Yeah, this is one I played over at 47.5, rebetted at 48, and now it's sitting at 48.5. I still like the over, but I think this over is going to be driven by the Atlanta Falcons. This is a Arizona Cardinals defense that ranks bottom 8 in pressure rate, and it's a Kirk Cousins who, for all we want to make fun of him, when he has no pressure on him, he's a top 8 rated quarterback on PFF. He should have time to throw. We may get Drake London back, which would be great. If not, I still don't mind attacking this Arizona Cardinals defense, one of the worst at tackling in the NFL. You've got Bijan Robinson, who has the most broken tackles in the NFL when running the football. This just sets up the Falcons to be able to move the ball consistently throughout this game. Like the over, but I'm going to pivot toward that Falcons team total. Over 26.5, you can get it even money. So buy it up from that 25.5, which is the base number, is 27, a key number, 26, not nearly as important inside team totals. So let's take over 26.5 for the Falcons here at even money tomorrow against a bad Cardinals defense.
Awesome. You can catch Mike along with Matt Brown on the weekends here. Ready, Set, Bet, Saturdays and Sundays on VSiN, and also twice a week. Sharp Money's the podcast. Get it wherever you listen to your podcast, along with Patrick Maher, and he was on the Progressive Guest Line. Awesome stuff as always, Mike. Best of luck this weekend.
Thanks, guys. You too. Have a good weekend.
Yep, there you go.
Warren Sharp loves Robinson over longest rush, and Gannon blamed the practice rules for why they are so bad tackling. Okay.
They are
awful.
I will document this a little bit later on. Every one of their games lately.
Yeah.
I mean, for the most part, just going to the moon. Up next, more NFL, and I'll tell you which team is on a 26-9 run with totals as we continue with Week 16 of the National Football League. Next on Follow the Money, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools, but what they don't want you to know is you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VSiN Pro. With VSiN Pro, you get access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VSiN Pro to cash more bets.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We're back into college football coming up in 15 minutes. John Taly will join the program. Does a great job covering the sport for CBS. Had a great column this week on the state of the sport. Double duty. Coaches who already took new jobs but are going to be sticking with their teams right now in the playoff. That's intriguing. And biggest grievances in the sport as well. Pauly, so this has been a thing. I know you're going to come back at me with another angle here, but this was a talking point for at least a handful of years under Brian Daboll, no longer the head coach of the New York Giants, but they're back at it again as a home underdog going back to 2020. Giants are 26-9 under the total. They get the Vikings. This is not an important game for New York. The important game is against the Raiders.
Yeah.
I mean, in theory, they want to lose that game as well.
Who knows?
Because they want the the number one overall pick in the draft. But they can come out here blindfolded with their backups and probably beat the Raiders by 10.
Yeah, well, you saw what happened last year when they screwed it up, but I think they want to win games here with a young team to blow things up. They're 8-1 over their last 9.
No, there you go.
Flipped with the Giants. Yeah. Yes, I know. And I don't know how they beat the Eagles. They look so good in that game and haven't won since. Gusts up to 30 miles an hour. Going to be cold. Look at some field goal props under there. But I would say Dart. Rushing yards over. Flores loves the blitz. And Dart can take off and get it in one run like he did last week against Washington. But they're so bad defensively, haven't been able to stop anything. And we'll see if McCarthy can cook here in this one. But a sick overrun for the Giants. And there's a lot of great numbers and trends this week and how the season has played out. We've talked numerous times about the Saints in the first quarter, but the Jet thing's hilarious. 1-12 ATS after you play the Jets. Teams after a game in Denver, 0-6 ATS. Lions, 14-1 ATS, 15-0 straight up off a loss. Cowboys, 13-1 over this year, first halves, 12-2 over their team total. Listen to these. This is from Joe Osborne. How about the scores in Dallas home games? 77 combined, 80, 66, 59, 60. It's madness.
I know that they're awful.
Yeah.
Are they bad enough to allow the Chargers to score like 30 on them?
Good question.
Is that going to happen?
Yeah. You got to love the kicking matchup. It's an all-time kicking matchup.
Actually,
with these guys.
Will both kickers hit a 60-yarder in that game?
That's a great prop.
Offer that prop.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Harbaugh will try it that long with Dicker, though. 55's
55?
I'm with Somich on Tampa Bay. We remember when they beat the Jets. Baker called him out because, remember, Wilkes was the DC, and the guy cut me in Carolina. So I know he's not healthy, and they're not playing well, and they're on a 0-6 ATS run. He is 5-0 against Carolina, and the average margin is 11 points per game. Carolina, 6-0 ATS off a loss this year. They've won 7 times as a dog. That's tied the record through 14 games, the 1980 Colts. Are you kidding? Are they going to do this again? Of course, they lose every time they're favored.
No, here's what's going to happen. I said this earlier in the week.
Good numbers from Evan Abrams there, yep.
If I know the NFL like I think I do, Panthers lose this game, then next week they come back and beat Seattle. That's what happens. Yeah. By the way, there's no home field here since 2019. They're 9 games below 500 ATS. Todd Bowles, as a road favorite, 15-4 under the total. I know they've had extra rest.
Does the tirade work? If not now, when?
Oh, let me tell you this, by the way. I knew I had it in my notes. Todd Bowles is 6-14 straight up, 5-14 ATS when his team has extra rest.
Damn.
That's yikes, man.
What happens with the Chiefs? They pack it in? Rice
I can't believe I did not take the 3.5 with the Titans.
0-6 ATS run, 1-7 now in one-score games, 11-0 last year, and now it's Minshew and playing out the string. I can't believe we're here.
We have a guest in an hour and 10 minutes who absolutely loves the Titans. And the market does as well. To where the number's at right now, there are 3s pretty much plastered. I do see 2.5s out there right now on Kansas City. But the Titans are going to look at this, even with no Patrick Mahomes. They're going to be like, okay, we're nobodies here. And they're probably not going to say that, obviously. But it's like we have a chance to take on the Chiefs now without the guy who's made it, run the entire 7-8 year stretch of the dynasty, and we can make this our Super Bowl, so to speak. I think they put everything into this game, and I'm with people, I'm with the market, and I'm just mad at myself for not taking the 3.5, but you can still find like plus 140 on the money line. I think that's a great number to bet here with Tennessee in this game. What do you think Kansas City... Now, did they come out and actually with their hair on fire and close the season? Like, hey, we're Kansas City, man.
I can't see that.
Why would they, right?
Kelsey's already out the door.
Oh, he's
still referring to him as the Chiefs and not us with Mahomes' injury. But it's, Minshew's a lunatic. You're going to come in and sling it. Who knows what that guy, he has the interception right away in the game last week. But, no rushing attack doesn't do him any favors. And now he's down somewhat. Thornton likely out, Rice out. That's not going to help him. And Kelsey is checked out as well.
You got to play 10. Anything like 3 is still definitely worth a play. Again, here at Circa, the number's at 2.5. Some other books have 2.5. Are you with Somich where we're going to get points in the Bills-Browns game?
Yeah, I could see that. Just how bad the defense is.
Browns defense.
Should the Bills be 10.5 on the road? They've had some stinkers here. And it goes back to, and you handle prosperity. The huge win, congratulations. All right, we're going to Bills, and now you got to go on the road again, and you're 10.5.
Doesn't that tie into liking the over the total then, too?
Yeah, they can't stop it.
Right, because the Browns are not exactly going to pitch a shutout here against Josh Allen.
Yeah.
So they're probably going to be dancing all over the field offensively. Guy's on a super hot streak right now. People are making the case for him to win the MVP, as we said yesterday. And if he I'm with you. The Bills defense, major problem there. But here's the deal also, and I know the Bears had guys coming back on defense, but the Browns scored 3 points against Chicago last week. 3? It's also, this is weird. I'm not going to say that he's due.
I know, but they should be able to run the ball on Buffalo.
I think so.
And Cook might just go wild, too, on Cleveland's, because Cleveland, how bad they were defensively against the run and how bad they were against Tennessee at home.
Yeah, so this is the 5th overall start for Shedeur Sanders. It's been every other game. Raiders, decent game, more than 200 yards. Then not a good game. Then he had almost 370 against the Titans. And then he came back and had like a $177 last week. So every other game he's good. And now that falls into this way of thinking here is that the Bills defense just can't stop a nosebleed. So
Right. I usually just look at these games in terms of props, and I ignore them from a side and total. Houston should destroy the Raiders. The Raiders are averaging 14 points per game. Hello, you're going against the number one defense in the league, and they're cooking offensively. Oh, this could get out of hand. And oh boy, did the Fairbairn props get out of hand. Was it 3 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago, it was plus money. He's now minus $2 over 1.5.
Well, they caught on
24-3 overrun. You could, if you're sensitive to the juice, you could just go over his total points, 8.5. But he's been cashing these in the first quarter of games. So if you include the playoffs, 24-3 overrun, 1.5 made field goals for Fairbairn. But this is how are the Raiders going to move the ball?
You want to lay? I think there are some games here where you could lay alternate numbers this week. I know it's 14, sounds crazy, but you want to lay like 20.5 points with Houston?
Yeah, I don't mind that. That's a good one. Let's get nuts.
Like 31-6 final score?
Just open up a can, yeah. I mean, this could be like the Arizona game all over again. You sit down, you have a sandwich, second bite, it's 17-0. What just happened? You look up and the game's already out of control.
Yeah, there's also this part. Not only, I mean, the Raiders record-wise, like, look, the 3 games left, let's get out of here. We'll come back next year, recharged, whatever. Show me where the talent is on this team. Other than Max Crosby.
Bowers is excellent.
Bowers certainly the next guy I was going to name.
Jetty just doesn't have a chance on that offensive line.
But the offensive line it's been in total shambles now for more than a year. The quarterback play is, my God, look away, nasty. Mm-hmm. But they don't have, now that they got rid of Jacoby Myers, who's the other threat to help Bowers out? They don't really have a guy. And defensively, other than Max Crosby, they've whiffed on so many draft picks that, I mean, that offensive line, they gave up 10 sacks to the Browns, and now you get to take on this unit?
I know.
Oh, my God.
There's the one thing going against us, and you've mentioned it a couple times, and the viewers have sent it in as well. Since 2015, teams off a shutout, 35-17-3 ATS. It's 5-0 ATS this year.
Yep.
That's the Raiders and Bengals this week.
Right. So that means that when the Raiders got shut out the first time against the Chiefs, they bounced back and covered the following game.
I can make a case for Cincinnati. No way I can do it for Las Vegas.
No, I want nothing to do with this team.
No. And that's buried as a late game too. But it's, that could be a blowout. And Atlanta, Arizona could be an aerial circus too with the points in that game. And I know you expect Detroit to put it on Pittsburgh. That's a great trend. 14-1 ATS. 15-0 straight up off a loss.
By the way, so I do expect fireworks in that Atlanta-Arizona game to the point of where in one of I'm pondering this. I haven't made the move. Again, I totally whiffed on sitting Stafford last night, but I have Wilson and McBride in my one league. I know Harrison's supposed to come back. I can pick up Jacoby Brissett, and I can just stack it and hope to God it's 35-31, and he throws for 350 and 3 touchdowns, and it's all Wilson and it's all McBride. And then I get bam, 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 1, 2, 3.
We're going to talk playoffs coming up with John Taly in the game tonight, and VSiN's got the guide you need to bet the postseason with confidence. Full previews of every game, best bets, custom brackets, Makinen's power ratings, bold picks across the network. Get the guide now, $14.99. Kickoff in a few hours, or upgrade to VSiN Pro, and everything's included. VSiN.com/CFP. VSiN.com/CFP. It's awesome. Get it.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Welcome back. Thanks for watching today on YouTube TV, listening on Sirius XM Channel 158, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, or any of our great affiliates across the country. More college football here. John Taly joins the program, does a great job covering the sport for CBS Sports, and he is on the progressive guest line. Great story today, which we'll dive into here, John. Thanks for the time. We appreciate it. But let's begin with this, with Oklahoma and Alabama beginning in about 2.5 hours. Who do you like in the game? And if Oklahoma wins, is DeBoer back at Alabama next year?
I still think he is, but certainly it gets a little weird. And it gets weird for 2 ways. One, you've had multiple programs that have been interested in him, the recent being Michigan, but Penn State was there too. Does that job still being open? Does he think a little bit more about it? I think that's one question, even though he has tried to say all the right things publicly about not being of interest to him. And then 2, just this would be back-to-back seasons in which Alabama limps into the offseason. Last year was a disappointment, really because of a regular season loss to Oklahoma, which kept it out of the playoff. They lost to Michigan in a bowl game. It was pretty embarrassing, honestly. This season, another loss to Oklahoma, a bad SEC championship loss to Georgia, in which they had -3 rushing yards. To lose the opening round playoff game, I think would open up some questions if they're not already happening as to, whether this is the right fit, whether he is ultimately the right guy to kind of maintain or even come close to maintaining the standard that Nick Saban set. So I think there's a good amount of pressure. To me, honestly, I think he is the coach out of the 12 head coaches in the playoff. He's the one that I think there's the most pressure on. I think he really could use and needs to deliver a win here tonight. Mm-hmm. So for all those reasons, I still lean Alabama. There's a lot of reasons why not to. Of course, the fact that they've lost the last 2 games to Oklahoma. The running game has been non-existent pretty much all season, but especially against Georgia. Ty Simpson has not quite looked the same the last few weeks, but I just think that Alabama still has the more talent. I also think that we've seen just in the 2 years we've had of Kalen DeBoer, that team looks very good coming out of a bye or coming out of an extra week of rest. In the regular season, Kalen DeBoer's 4-0. That's included 2 wins over Georgia, which are his 2 best wins as Alabama's head coach. So I feel like that extra week of rest really helpful for an Alabama team that's banged up. And I think they eke one out against Oklahoma, but it's going to be tight.
Our previous guest, Pat Forty, said DeBoer is number 2 on the hot seat and most pressure. Number 1 is Golding. You're also going to the game in Oxford tomorrow. It's going to be bizarre where all the defensive coaches are staying and then the offensive guys left, but they're coming back to help out. And then they're still – LSU's going to pay Kiffin his bonuses if they win these games. I can't believe this. But what do you think that's going to be like tomorrow, and what are you expecting with the anti-Kiffin stuff there on campus?
I think that's what I'm most intrigued about, honestly, is just what kind of signs we might see. I'm excited to kind of get around the Grove early tomorrow and just see what the vibe is like. I would imagine there will be quite a few signs, quite a few anti-Lane Kiffin buttons around town. But, yeah, I mean, it's such a weird situation. Like, we have not seen anything like it before. I do agree with Pat that there is a lot of pressure on Pete Golding. Not because of whether he's going to keep the job or not. We already know that they've promoted him to being the head coach. That will continue beyond whatever happens in that first round playoff game. But the fact that Ole Miss crushed Tulane early in the season, that Ole Miss is a huge favorite. It's probably, and I spent a couple of years in Mississippi working at a paper there. It's probably the biggest sporting event in Mississippi State history. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're giving away Santa hats. They're trying to set a Guinness Book of World Records for most people wearing a Santa hat in one place. They're going all out. They're breaking out all the things, and so Ole Miss to lose that game would be absolutely devastating, and would really get the Pete Golding era off to a tough start in his first game as a head coach. I still think Ole Miss wins that game, but there's a chance it could get a little weird, especially if it's tighter than that 45-10 result that we saw back in September.
Your article was fantastic about all these coaches performing double duty. That ties into this angle as well. But how important do you think that could be where you have a coach who's trying to coach this game, but they already have another job lined up?
I think it's something that we just don't talk enough about. Just imagine if you had 2 full-time jobs at the same time. Maybe you guys have done it. I one time had a full-time job and wrote a book at the same time. And it kind of drove me crazy. I was just working constantly. And I think we just have accepted it as yeah, these guys, it's just what they have to do. But just the idea of having to manage the pressure of both of these jobs at the same time. So, you mentioned Tulane. John Summerall is a good example of this. Mm-hmm. He is Tulane's head coach, and he's also Florida's head coach. And so he's trying to prepare for Ole Miss, a team that he lost to 45-10 earlier this year. He's also putting together a Florida staff. He's trying to recruit guys. He's trying to get ready for the portal, which is already starting up, even though it doesn't officially start until January 2nd. That's just a lot going on. And so I think it's likely that we'll get some weird result or something will happen that will be surprising to us. And I think this will be one of the factors. And I go back to, we're talking about Lane Kiffin, like the reason why Lane Kiffin got fired at Alabama is because of how bad that Alabama team looked against Washington in a semifinal game. And it's because Nick Saban made the determination. This guy is distracted, understandably so. He's got two jobs at the same time. Like, he's not the guy to lead my offense moving forward. And so you've got both Oregon coordinators have taken other jobs. You've got both Texas A&M coordinators have taken other jobs. And so even these teams that we like, that we think are good, that could be a distraction. They might just not be on their A game. And when you're in the playoff in which you're competing against the best teams with the best talent, that slight edge off could be a huge difference. So like that Texas A&M Miami game, I think could be a great example with Colin Fine already taking the Kansas State job. Jay Bateman's on the way out to go to Kentucky. That could be an edge for Miami, which is not losing any of those key coordinators or coaches this cycle.
Great answer. Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, John Taly, covers college football, CBSSports.com. Great story up again today. And so there's also this that you wrote about. Next Tuesday, Pauly, is Festivus.
Yes.
Seinfeld fans, from 27 years ago, we all know what this is. It's the airing of grievances, and you wrote about that today. What is your biggest – people can go read the story, but what is your biggest issue right now with the state of college football?
Man, I've got so many, but I'll give you two quick ones. One, and this is probably more impacts me than the average person, but the idea of like kids who are like 16, 17 years old, I get it, they're young, but like they love to make like Christmas commitments and July 4th commitments, and it's like just do it the day before, the day after. Like, why do you have to make this is such like I get it's the biggest day to them, but like I have just. As you can imagine, having to cover this for many years, like there's nothing quite like having to tell your significant other, like, hey, I'm sorry, I need to step out because this guy who you've never heard of, who's 16 years old, just decided that he really wants to play at Maryland next year. It's tough. It's tough to sell that one to the family. I've had to go through it a couple times, so that's one of mine. And then my more important one about college sports is that I just think that there's something. I love college football. I think it's unique. It's special. I grew up in New Jersey around pro sports, and I love pro sports too. But college sports is unique, and I just think that we need to protect what makes it unique. And I just think a lot of the leaders of college sports right now, a lot of the decisions that are being made are not to do that. I think a lot of it is in pursuit of that kind of extra dollar they think they can get available elsewhere. And I just don't think anyone is dying for a mini worse version of the NFL. I just want college to be college and NFL to be NFL. And I just think that with private equity and some of these other decisions that we're seeing, I just worry that we're going to lose what makes college football great. And I just don't know that the people who are running the sport right now really have its best interests at heart.
Well said. You can follow John on X. He is at JTalty. He is going to the Grove tomorrow for Ole Miss and Tulane. Enjoy the game. Love talking to you today, man. Thanks for the time. We appreciate that.
Appreciate you guys.
There you go. And
well
he
done.
was on the Progressive guest line.
Oh, there'll be some creativity tomorrow. They can't stand him. They were giving him the bird at the airport when he left and took the job. And then you got the offensive coaches coming back to help out. And then the defensive guys stayed there, and we'll see.
What do you think about Tulane Ole Miss first quarter, first half?
It's a tough game. I don't know.
Well, because they just come out, they're like, okay, look, I mean, everybody doubts us.
Yep.
Our play caller's gone. Kiffin, right? He said that nobody wanted him to leave. We all poo-pooed that on social media. We're glad he's gone. Now watch this. I know this is all narrative-based, but they just want to prove that Lane, they don't really like the guy, maybe. And like, we're going to be okay.
Well, sure. Yeah, he did not tell the whole story about the kids that it was not true. The kids want me to coach the game. How many guys tweeted out? That's not what's said in the meeting.
That's exactly right. They made it a point, like immediately, to go to social media and say that. We'll expand on the playoff games coming up next. I'll give you an angle involving head coaches. It was 27-16 straight up last year, 28-14-1 ATS, and is 57% over the last decade. That's next on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Welcome back. We're live in Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. We will get back into Week 16 National Football League, a game, again, that I expect to be a shootout coming up at the top of the hour. Mackinnon Trends, vsin.com. Hot teams entering the playoff. Pauly, Oregon, they've won their final 3 games against the spread. On the season, Texas Tech, 10-1 both straight up in ATS last 11 games. That should be the quarterfinal match unless we get one of the biggest upsets you're ever going to see in a playoff tomorrow when Oregon takes on James Madison. Not great. Last 7 games for Miami, only 3-4 ATS. Same with Ole Miss. Texas A&M did not cover any of their final 3 games of the year. How about some totals? Alabama, under the total, 9 of its last 10 games. Oklahoma, under 10 of 12 games this season. Huh? What do you think?
Yeah. These are tough.
Can you find scoreless quarter in that game tonight?
I would hope they would have that. That's a great prop. I know. I see 7.5 first quarter looks good under, and also no score first 5.5 minutes. That's another good one. Also, Caesars and Will Hill put this up. I'm glad they did this, but it'll be better for the next round. They have highest scoring team, lowest scoring team, and highest scoring game, lowest scoring game. Difficult. You can imagine the odds with JMU and Tulane because you got huge underdogs. But that's a phenomenal prop once we get to the next round as well.
What do you have for Oregon, James Madison, highest scoring game? Because that total is 46.5, and the Ole Miss total is 57.5.
Mm-hmm.
So, in theory, you should be getting a pretty decent price on them, although there's only 4 games. The Tulane Ole Miss obviously going to be almost odds on. Highest scoring? Okay, we'll get that in a second. I'll give you this as well.
You wanted highest scoring game?
Yeah, game.
That's plus 105. Tulane and Ole Miss. James Madison, Oregon is plus 250.
Interesting. Okay.
Low scoring game is the one tonight, $1.45. I mean, this could really be ugly. This could be 16-13. And James Madison, Oregon is 3-1. And then JMU is $1.20. Lowest scoring team. Highest scoring team, Ole Miss is $1.10. But it's just, I also can make the argument that Tulane has improved. And maybe it was deer in the headlights, that first matchup. So maybe they're overconfident. They're too anxious. They want to stick it to people and stick it to Kiffin. That could be. Tulane, it's they good quarterback and Retzloff. Maybe there's a big play early on. And maybe this guy's in over his head, too. I mean, it's just bizarre where your coach takes off and right before the playoff, and the biggest game, as Taly just said, in the history of the state.
Yep. I'll give you some recent bowl/playoff game trends as well for some of these teams. Favorites in Bama's last 8 bowl games, 7-1 straight up and ATS. Now, this is basically a pick 'em, but Oklahoma is a 1.5 point favorite there. Alabama is 3-8 ATS, last 11 Big 6 bowl/playoff level games. Mm-hmm. Have not been getting the job done now for a long time covering. Favorites are 14-3 straight up, 10-6-1 ATS, Oklahoma's last 17 bowl/playoff games. This is now here's where you're really speaking my language with crystal ball.
Yeah.
Miami. Well, Mario Cristobal has lost 4 straight bowl/playoff games straight up in ATS. His defense in those games, on average, they've allowed 38.5 points per game. Miami has been terrible in bowl games lately. 2-12 straight up, last 14. And in their last 5 bowl/playoff games, they've lost as an underdog both straight up and against the spread. I don't know what to make of that game tomorrow. I saw a great tweet, by the way. This is going to be 5 days before Christmas. Are we sure Kyle Field's going to have 107,000 people there?
How about what Saban said? You have to contend with artificial noise, too.
Mm-hmm.
Remember also what Saban said. Watch out if Miami makes the playoff. They have so much talent. They're going to be a tough out, and they can win the whole thing.
Well, Paul, go back to the middle of the season. Were we not saying this team is maybe worth a shot to win it because they have that much talent?
The turnaround defensively is astonishing and incredible and a miracle, what they've done. They couldn't stop anything last year.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a totally different ballgame when you can buy players the next year.
Well, it's still, but it's unbelievable what the coaching staff has done. and how effective they are defensively and what they've done the last month of the season. Can they get Tony involved early? Can he add some big plays? They're going to get a great chance to win if Beck can take care of the ball. You saw the Louisville game and the SMU losses. He was sloppy. He was careless. They should be undefeated. And that was the last time the defense had a below-average performance was the SMU game, which they had no business losing. But I just think I'm with Saban that they have so much talent, and they win this, they could make a deep run here. But Beck's got to be clean and not take care of the ball.
I'll also give you this. Since 2015, we'll call it the last 10 bowl seasons, head coaches with an experience advantage in terms of number of bowl games coached over their opponent, they are 203 and 156 straight up and 57% ATS. Last year, the coaches were 27 and 16 straight up, 28, 14 and 1 ATS. So what does that look like for the first round of the playoff games? Well, Chesney, James Madison, has coached in 1 bowl game. Dan Lanning has coached in 3. The Tulane-Ole Miss game. Summerall Tulane has coached in 2, Golding 0. There's actually an edge there for Tulane. The Bama-Oklahoma game. DeBoer has been in 4, Venables 3. Edge, Alabama, Cristobal has coached in 8, Mike Elko has coached in 2. So you do have that going. I think that's something that you might want to put stock in as well, how coaches, that experience actually might come into play here a little bit. And trying to find it here. Venables, oh yeah, by the way, he's lost all 3 prior bowl/playoff games with Oklahoma, 1-1 and 1 ATS.
Okay. Summerall pulling double duty, as Taly mentioned, and a great quote from Golding. This is the fewest amount of sleep I've had since I made a trip to Vegas in 2007. What he said. Getting ready for this game.
Yeah.
But this is... I agree with you that they kind of blew the schedule.
Well,
Miami, Texas A&M should not start the day.
Absolutely not.
That's your monster matchup. I mean, these last 2 games could get out of hand.
I also think that you should probably have Oklahoma, Alabama tomorrow.
Yeah.
In theory,
I would have no issue if Tulane-Ole Miss was tonight.
No, neither would I.
Or James Madison, Oregon.
No, put one of those games. In fact, I would have rather had Miami, Texas A&M tonight. But you probably keep Miami, Texas A&M, and Oklahoma, Alabama for tomorrow. But anyway, that's kind of nitpicking. But that's a really good angle. Again, with those coaches with an edge. You also, the point spread is a great equalizer. So you're going to get big point spreads from time to time. But I also don't really feel like laying 21 with Oregon.
They're hard to get a read on. I'm very impressed with them defensively. And they played big man football in that Iowa game, and they did a great job in the trenches, and they were good in the Penn State game.
Well, that's where Lanny's done such a great job.
Oh, they were awesome against Washington as well. But how much confidence do you have in their offense? Are they going to score at will against JMU? And I was impressed with JMU in their only loss. I mean, they had the lead in the second half at Louisville, a team that beat Miami. And it looked like they were a little bit nervous in the Troy game. That shouldn't have been close in the fourth quarter. But I wouldn't be surprised if this is a game in the second half with JMU, because they did handle themselves well in that game at Louisville when they had the lead.
I'm not as high on Oregon as a bunch of people here at the network are. Again, 5 people picked them to win the national title. Mm-hmm. And I have loved this program for, watching them. I've been there a couple of times for games. It's great. But I don't think this team is that great.
I know. They're hard to get a read on because of the schedule.
You can come back and say, well, we don't really have a lot of great teams this year in college football. That's fine. I just don't know if this one is championship, title worthy with how much talent they have overall. And plus, I know people are absolutely in awe of Dante Moore. I think he go number 1 overall. I think he's fine. Do you think he's great?
No.
Neither do I.
They weren't impressive against Wisconsin. It was a tough win in the elements at Iowa, but they scored 18 points. Mm-hmm. They were impressive offensively against USC, but gave up 27. The defense was phenomenal in the Washington game. And now we can't take anything from the Penn State win anymore. Or not much anyways. With that win. Although they were great defensively in that game. So, but you also got to be livid and ready to go in outrage with how you performed last year as the game was over in the first quarter of the Rose Bowl. Profit X, the number one sports prediction market, launching its 7 days of profit Christmas giveaway. From Christmas Day through New Year's, you can win 7 different prizes just by making a $50 play on any first-round game on December 19th or 20th. Every $50 qualifying play earns you additional entries. Prizes include clothing brand gift cards and a $500 credit toward your rent or mortgage. Download Profit X and use promo code VSiN to get started. Profit X.
Let's follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. You can always get in touch with the show. The email is ftm@vsin.com. On Instagram, VSiN Live. Pauly does Vegas. Mitch Moss over there as well. Week 16 coming up next, National Football League. And I really think this game should be a shootout. I'll tell you why coming up next here on VSiN.